This is the 55-bedroom mansion that George Harrison donated to one holy man, at least $63 million within the first 5 years of meeting him. Who, why, and how.
Our intention had been, let's do something really big for Prabhupada. And there wasn't much bigger in 1968 than the Beatles.
George first met Srila Prabhupada in London in 1968. The next stage of spiritual awakening, he recorded the Maha Mantra with his secretary Syamasundara, who in turn asked George the following year to help pay for marble slabs and their molding for temple use.
George Harrison had got a hold of the Swami's record called Krishna Consciousness. And he told me later that he was listening to it almost every day.
$3,000 was a lot of money for just 1969 in July, and the next marble favor in September, being 2,000 British pounds, was actually a 75% higher donation in today's money.
Walked through all these people and came over to me and said, "Where have you been? I've been waiting to meet you." George came down to see us where we were living in our warehouse in Covent Garden.
He so much appreciated the Hare Krishna mantra that he immediately said, let's make a 45 record.
So we all went over to Abbey Road Studios, made that record, and sold 70,000 copies the first day.
I became quite friendly at one point with Swami Bhaktivedanta, who formed the Krishna temple. I'd always walk out of there thinking, oh, thank you, Lord.
And he said to me at a certain time, I want to do songs for Krishna. And he plays My Sweet Lord.
Hare Krishna. The music really was the key that opened the door into the yoga and the Vedic scriptures, which is really the foundation of everything. You know, it gave some sort of backbone to my life.
Syamasundara didn't want to ask for any more money, but Prabhupada instructed him the following year to help publish the beautiful Krishna book, featuring ISKCON's beautiful paintings. So Syamasundara then asked for 340% further donation. Then storm lightning struck the temple, fusing out the lights. So George said, how can I refuse that? That $19,000 gift for the first print run of the book is like $500,000 today as an economic project cost.
He had memorized the Swami's introduction to the album. He knew it word for word.
As living spiritual souls, we are all originally Krishna conscious entities.
So even if they blew us up with H-bombs, our soul will stay in our other astral body. The soul is in this body for a period of time, and then it leaves the body. It's like, in a way, the body is like a suit. They call it the causal body, and then around that's the astral body, and then there's the gross physical body. So death is really when the physical body falls off, but the soul's still in two other bodies, so it's then on the astral level. Krishna said there's no time when we didn't exist, and there'll be no time when we cease to exist. The only thing that changes is the body.
People always say I'm the Beatle who changed the most, but really that's what I see life is about. The point is, unless you're God conscious, then you have to change, because it's a waste of time. Everybody is so limited and so really useless when you think about the limitations on yourself. And the whole thing is to change, try and make everything better and better. And that's what the physical world is about, is change.
But due to our association with matter,
By having the money, we found that money wasn't the answer, because we had lots of material things for people sort of spend their whole life to try and get. We managed to get them at quite an early age. And it was good, really, because we learned that that wasn't it. We still lacked something.
But for the next donation of a 1973 mansion, the project value of almost $10 million doesn't even cut it for real estate. So we compare the nearest on the market. 10 bedrooms and over 2 acres seems impressive, but it is still nowhere near the mansion that George bought for ISKCON. 55 rooms and 17 acres. So judging by cost per 10 rooms, plus the area's £180 per square metre of land, then adding the 3 other favours, that's how we arrive at the sum of $63 million.
from time immemorial, our consciousness is now polluted.
Many years of pollution of consciousness through material energy and this association, then we've all ended up in a fallen state. But really, everybody is basically potentially divine. Cleanse the system. The whole thing of purity that they talk about in religion is really a mental, physical, and spiritual purity, which is obtained through discipline and through practice.
Better to be an outspoken atheist than a hypocrite. And bring me up as a Catholic. They had told you to just believe what they're telling you. For me, going to India and hearing, no, you can't believe anything until you have direct perception of it and make some sense. And so I wanted to go deeper and deeper into that.
Within every atom that holds it all together, and that in actual fact it really is one, but on an intellectual level to say it is we are one, then, I mean, again, you miss the point. It's an experience. You have to really have that perception.
Becomes the Sun was the muse of Prabhupada's smile. George read when he could and helped when he could. He was a plain-clothes Hare Krishna, forming another good friendship with Ravi Shankar.
I think what we are now is the result of our past actions. What we're going to be is going to be the result of our present actions. The law of karma, action-reaction. Like, there's no way I wasn't going to be in the Beatles, even though I didn't know it. In retrospect, I can see it was a setup. But at the same time, I do have control over my actions. Try being a pop star forever and going on TV and do concerts and be a celebrity, or I can be a gardener.
I don't really see myself as a fully fledged showbiz star anyway, you know, like that. So I've seen 1,000 sitar players in India who's twice as better than I'll ever be. Ravi Shankar, and he was the only person who didn't try to impress me. He taught me so much without actually saying a word. It's by example. That's where I really went for the meditation. The first concept of a man in the sky. Well, I kicked that one a few years ago, but I've got back to that now because it's a man in the sky as well, if you like. It's just everything. The whole thing, it's just everything. Every aspect of creation is part of God.
Really, the only reason to be living is to have complete, full knowledge, full bliss consciousness. Everything else is just mundane and secondary. The purpose is to transcend from this relative state of consciousness to an absolute state of consciousness. People think this is me, you know, and this isn't me, this is just a bag of bones. Basically, everybody is spirit.
Realizing we're not of this body transcends negative karma and burns away our false ego when we completely surrender to Krishna. George had battles with cancer and even a home intruder, but when Prabhupada died in 1977, he thanked him with his own possessions, his finger ring meant for healing, and his love for him better than his own son. We learn to never fear death and only hope to serve Krishna.
And I see everybody's running around, and yet nobody's trying to figure out what's the cause of death. What happens when you die? I mean, that to me is the only thing really that's of any importance. The rest is all secondary.
No, that's not. I'm not going to die for you quite yet.
We would have won nice.
Well, you never know. I think it makes a good story, doesn't it?
I got a son who needs a father, so I have to stick around for him as long as I can. But other than that, I can't think of much reason to be here.
If you like this, subscribe. And I can even be professional. If you like, spread and comment.